So the difference is if you're in operations, you're basically making sure that you're following all the directions and all the instructions that are set for you. If you're in compliance, you're looking and keeping abreast of everything that's out there. You're looking to see what new legislation is coming. How are we going to be able to do it? It's sort of a different.
Welcome to Behind the Screens, conversations with background screening pros. I'm Les Rosen, your host, and I'm excited to have you here. On this podcast, we chat with the people who know the background screening world inside and out. Executives, industry experts, legal pros, and more. We dive into their personal stories and insights to give you a real look at what's happening behind the scenes. Whether you work in the screening industry or are just curious, Behind the Screens bring you the real, unfiltered conversations from the people who make it all happen. Stick around for stories you won't hear anywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Behind the Screens, conversations with the pros in the background screening world that actually make things happen. And today we have with us a make thing happener. I don't know if that's a real word or not. We have a person who has gone the route of wearing lots of different hats, has done lots of different things, has a record of tremendous accomplishments with the firm she's been with. She is a compliance guru, currently has her own firm. She has made real tremendous contributions to PBSA. We'll talk about those. And of course, the person I'm referring to is none other than Nancy Alt. Nancy, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks, Les. I really appreciate you having me.
No, and I appreciate you coming too. So it's a real pleasure to get to talk with you and hear about some of the things you have been doing and some of the things that you are doing. Tell us about your current position, what you do, what you like about it, what's most interesting about it.
Well, currently I'm working as a consultant and background screening, helping mostly new companies, mid-market companies, setting their foundation by writing policies, procedures in conjunction with legal counsel that has already told them what their guidelines will be. I also work on different merger acquisition projects where I'll audit documents to make sure that they in fact do have what they said, but they do have. I prep organizations for PBSA accreditation. That's really important to make sure everybody has what they need before they go into the actual audit. I love what I do simply because of the fact that you've got to set a solid foundation. That's where it all starts. We are heavily regulated and you do get audited. And so it's a lot better if you have everything in place and you have a solid foundation to work from. It helps with your training of your personnel and everything because things are all consistent. It just makes things better for everybody to work from.
Well, I love the name of your organization, Tweak the Core. And I know there's got to be a story behind that. Where did you come up with the idea of Tweak the Core? What does that mean?
Well, basically your core is the foundation of your company. And so I believe that you really do have to do it right. Okay. Not just willy-nilly, but set your policies, your procedures, get everything right. Have your legal counsel right. And just get everything in place because if you start there, then it's perfect. However, for anybody that's been in the industry, we know that things change constantly. Okay, so that's tweaking, all right? So it's all about reflecting and looking, like you're constantly making changes because regulation mandates it, etc. However, you sometimes just have to look at yourself. Can we do things better? You're talking to customers. What are we doing that works well? What are we doing that doesn't work well? Run some of these type of simulations with your own company just to see how you can improve. Never rest on your laurels.
So basically you spend a great deal of time with compliance.
Yep. Well, I think my earlier career, basically, I worked for an electric utility. And I spent a lot of years there. The last 10 doing drug and alcohol testing. Compliance was sort of just a natural thing. I mean, we had to be compliant with the regulation. And then when I went into background screening, you need to be compliant with the regulation. So the difference is if you're in operations, you're basically making sure that you're following all the directions and all the instructions that are set for you. If you're in compliance, you're looking and keeping abreast of everything that's out there. You're looking to see what new legislation is coming. How are we going to be able to do it? It's sort of a different view, and I like them both, actually. I mean, I liked operations. I loved what I was doing there, but I love compliance even more and making sure that people are set up for success.
Oh, and that's a great distinction. Operations is the way you do things every day, and compliance is making sure you're doing it right every day and tweaking if you're not, right?
Right? Correct. Absolutely.
So let's talk about your career path. Like a lot of people in the industry, you started off outside the industry, and then tell us about your journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah, it was interesting. I never thought about being a background screener. I mean, I didn't even know that existed, actually. But like you said, most of the jobs that I held in my earlier career had a lot to do with regulatory compliance. So, I mean, running drug and alcohol programs, I mean, I was part of the administration as an MRO assistant and DOT program coordinator. You know, I had to follow all of those compliance rules. And I moved over to background screening, and I've been there for the last 25 years. So I started off in operations, and I just said yes, always. So, I mean, if we had a new product that we're going to put out, whether it was driver qualification files, or I didn't get into the drug testing on the background screening side, but I have that experience. Just fingerprints. When we got into that, I said yes. And so I was managing that. So, but all of it has different regulatory requirements. And so it was just a constant learning of what was out there and what needed to be done. And it's just been a fun ride, actually. At least for me. I don't know if it's attention deficit or something. I just like learning things. But I just find it interesting, and it just gives you just a broader view of everything that we do out there. I mean, background screening is not only employment screening. There are many components of it, be it tenant screening. We do volunteer organizations. You might do special projects where you're having basketball tournaments or something, and we're bringing in volunteers for that, or the people that are going to work it. We do all different things. TSA, we had a big project for that when they were first rolling out. So it's been a very interesting ride and a very big learning curve over the years.
You're unique, Nancy, in that you have not only experience with firms that are household names, but also your own consulting practice. You've done both. What led you to start the consulting practice?
Well, actually, I was out of a job. I mean, that's the truth of it. And so I was trying to figure out what my next step was going to be, what I was going to do. I had already done a lot, and I just wasn't sure the direction I was going to go into. And I had some great friends and counterparts in the business, Kirsten Magris, as you well know, and Montserrat Miller, the late Montserrat Miller, that encouraged me to do this because of my background, that it was so diverse. I felt that I had a lot to lend still to the industry, and because I still had a background for it, that it might not be a bad idea for me to go into the consulting. And so it's been good.
Oh, congratulations. Well, I took a look at your LinkedIn profile before we talked. Something that just absolutely jumped out at me, and I mentioned this off air. I hope you don't mind if I bring it up again, but you were involved with the managing portions of 8 company acquisitions in a pretty small period of time, acquisition and mergers, and successfully transitioning that business into the main business. Now, that must have been crazy.
It was crazy. I had come from a very suit type of environment in my past experience, and then coming into background screening back in those early years, this is 25 years ago, it was much more entrepreneurial. And so everybody was buying up competition. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to. They were building and building, starting out small and then building, looking for what they didn't have and adding that to the portfolio, if you will. And so we did. We did at Choice Point, bought a lot of different companies out there, and we had to integrate them. I mean, the whole purpose was to build a client base as well. And so we didn't want to lose them. So, I mean, our teams worked tirelessly, to be honest with you. It's something I'm really proud of, is that we worked really hard as we were moving things up on different platforms onto our platform. and trying to make customers happy and see this as a good thing. And we did. We had actually bought like 8 or 9 different companies within like a 2-year period. And now the transition took a little bit, but by and large, we moved those things and moved those customers. And it was really impressive, to be honest with you. We had a great group of people. We wore a lot of different hats in those days. Again, when I first started out in the background screening portion of our company, we probably only had 60 people. And by the time at one point in the company, we went up to like 300 people. And then things changed too, but it was a ride and it was really exciting. It was something I had never been part of before. And I have to say, it was just a great journey. It really has been.
Well, just for fun, what were some of the hats? I mean, HR, wellness, what
Well,
else?
when I started, I did human resources. We had a corporate office. So I was doing the field human resources, but you could only imagine if you're running part of the operation. I mean, you're doing I had the records. I had case registration at the time we entered the cases. I had like one of the verifications teams. Once we grew, I had the driver qualification team. I had the fingerprint team. So there were a lot of different hats that I've worn over the years. And I think it really was because I said, yeah, I've always been interested in learning new things. So, I mean, it just came natural to me. And some of it, because I'd worked in the utility before, I had a lot of experience in that kind of thing. We were heavily regulated. And so I had worked with drivers, et cetera, before. We did fingerprints because we did access authorization to nuclear plants. So I had some familiarity with all these different products. Maybe not exactly like we did it, but it was a natural progression.
I have this mental image of your closet just being full of hats. I don't know why.
Well, yeah. There
Oh,
were a number of us that wore multiple hats. So, but it was, again, it was exciting. It was fun. Be part of something that was growing like that. Meeting people from other companies that got to integrate with us and stay with us. I mean, those were exciting times. So it was a good time for us.
Well, you've had a fantastic career and you're still having one, but obviously you're a person, you could have gone into any industry and made your mark and have done outstanding. What was it about background screening that you enjoyed that kept you in the screening industry?
Well, the interesting part is the fact that I think the thing that makes mean something to me is that what we do matters. When I'd interview people that would come in to work for me, I'd say, look, I can make this sound very CSI-ish, but at the end of the, you've got to be able to look at each one of these individual people that are coming through. They're looking to get a job. You need to take it serious. Okay, you need to be able to move this very quickly. All right, because they're waiting on this job or this background to come back in order to get a job. Well, when I first started at Choice Point, it wasn't part of the group that I was in. It was another part of our company. But some Choice Point employees had made a tool called Atom. I don't know if you ever heard of it. But basically, you could quickly aggregate data and send an email blast out to local law enforcement for missing children. And so it was getting out there real time. And, you know, that was just a really cool thing to be part of a company that was championing something like that.
Right.
And it just meant a lot to us. Every time that they found the home and get the kid back with their parents, they would send an announcement around the whole company. And you couldn't help but feel happy to be part of that. You know, I mean, at one time, they had reached 100 kids that got reunited with their families. And so at that time, I think I recognized that the power of accurate and timely information and the impact that it could make to people. And so it sounds crazy, but I mean, that was really one of the first things that like really impacted me in this industry. So I just liked it.
And I think that's a really great insight because I think a lot of people outside the industry don't realize that the dedication of the folks in the screening industry is a dedication towards the individual job seeker. And even though I've said this in other podcasts, even though the job seeker doesn't pay us, the employers do, we represent the job applicant. They're our client under the FCRA, and they're entitled and need timely and accurate reports. So I think what you're saying is just so right on.
Well, and that's what, like I said, when I'd interview people, I interviewed every single person that ever worked for me. And I really tried to embed that in their thinking and to say, yeah, look, you need to take this seriously. I mean, what we do is really important. And we not only get people the information that people can make intelligent decisions on whether to hire them or not, but I mean, it's us that's either holding it up or getting them going by getting the information to the hiring company. And it's not just that, there's tenant screening. If we were doing the backgrounds on the tenant side, we had that portion. I wasn't part of that at that time, but still, other parts of our people were. And that was important. I mean, because you're giving people homes on a roof over their head.
Yeah.
Just all sorts of different things. I mean, checking registries to make sure that there's not elder abuse charges on somebody and all different things, child abuse. And we do a lot out there. And I don't think people really realize the magnitude of what we really do.
Right. The magnitude and the importance and the need for speed plus accuracy and everything else. Well, let me ask you, with all the interesting things you've done and the hat you wore, what's a lesson that comes at top of mind that you learned in your career really has kind of stuck with you that you'd like to share?
I would say to work hard. I know that sounds so cliche, but not everybody does work hard. And I would say work hard and learn every facet of the business. You're not always going to move upward. Sometimes your movement is sideways.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was really important. And early on in my career, when I started, I was interviewing all the people that were working for us. I would ask the HR people at corporate if I could do that because I wanted to see what I was dealing with. I had just gotten into this industry and I wanted to ask them the same bank of questions. And I just said, what is it that may frustrate you? And so I guess the other part of working hard and learning every facet of the business is listening. That's huge. And so I was listening to all of our employees and I was asking the question, it was like, well, what frustrates you or what do you want or what's your goal? There was like 4 questions that I asked them. Said there's no right or wrong answers. I just really want to know who you are and what you're looking for. So it was interesting that I had heard that, well, no one really talks to me and I don't know what the other people in the other department do. And I was like, well, wait a minute. That's not good because we actually build on each other. So, I mean, like your case registration person at the time was actually entering all the data and then it would move to the next people. And it was almost like a relay race, I used to tell them. So, I mean, I'd say it's important to listen and to see what your employees need and what they're saying, where they think things could be better, whether it be a tool that needs enhancement, etc. And also listen to your customers. I think that's huge. If people are saying the same thing over and over, you need to think about it. I had one time I was sitting with a customer and we were very compartmentalized, okay? I mean, verifications was here, records was here, DQF was here, etc. And this is going way, way back. But I was sitting with a customer and I was asking her for data. We were going to set up her account for driver qualification. And she says, well, I already gave all this information to these people. And I mean, now obviously I was embarrassed. And I said, oh, well, I'm really sorry that that happened. Well, can I just impose on you one more time and I'll make sure this doesn't happen as we go forward. Well, anyway, the learning curve on that was here's a customer telling me that we've already gathered this information. And we should have been able to disseminate it through the different groups. And so it was just such a great example of how something so simple could be frustrating in an experience for a customer. And we just didn't know it because we were so segmented. And all you had to do was ask questions. So needless to say, after that experience, we gathered all the managers up. We worked together and we created a completely different experience so that we would never do that again.
That is such great advice. I mean, the takeaway for me is number one, something that not everyone always remembers is the power of listening, and not just listening to your people, listen to your customers, listen to your vendors, listen to everybody. And then the second takeaway lesson from what you said is that you can't be too overly siloed. If everyone's in their own silo, that doesn't work either because you all build and trust and work with each other. So those are 2 great takeaway lessons. I appreciate that. So let me ask you, what stands out in your mind when you think back on your career, and again, you're still mid-career, you're still going strong, but to date, when you think about going back to your career, what comes to mind that brings a smile to your face in terms of a personal accomplishment associated with your industry career, or something you're particularly proud of?
I mean, if it was project based, it would be probably the biggest project that we did was bringing on all of TFA. When that that was huge, a huge endeavor where we started screeners at every airport in the country. And so we had a huge project with a very short timeline, and we worked and we got it done. And that in itself was really a monumental project that we're really proud of, not just me and my department, but again, the whole company. We did an incredible job. But the real thing is the people. We have a lot of AI, robots, everything that does everything today differently than it was 25 years ago. But even today, no matter what, it's always the people that really make the difference. All right. They're the ones caring. You can program machines and do everything, but there's a certain element of people that it takes. They're the ones that make it happen. Kudos out to every team that ever worked for me and ones that didn't for just doing a heck of a job and caring. I think that they believed in it. I mean, like I tried to instill that in them, that how much really people out there in general, anybody looking for a job, I mean, we're doing most through backgrounds. You got to take a great deal of pride of what you're doing. And they lived it. They worked tirelessly. And I mean, we worked just pretty much every weekend as well to be able to move that work on a very timely basis. So, I mean, that's sort of the thing that it's not just even the people and the teams that work for me. I mean, it's the relationships I've had with vendors, with furnishers, with regulators. I mean, I've had some good relationships with them as well. The legal teams that support us, PBSA, all the people I've met in the industry and all the different committees and things like that I've been a part of, those were great. And they still are. I mean, I've met some incredible people. So, I mean, I would say that's the thing that has kept me going really all of this time. Is that pump.
Well, you mentioned PBSA, and so that would be the next natural place for us to go. We'll toot your horn for you. For those who don't know it, you were the chair of the Background Screening Credentialing Council. I can't imagine a job that is harder to do, probably with less appreciation, but so hard. And you're on some of the committees that just do tremendous work. Industry Practice Committee, Government Relations Committee, and the Access Committee. So tell us about that. Tell us about your time as the chair of the Background Screening Credentials, then we'll move along and we'll talk about access.
I wish I would have been involved in PBSA even years before I was. But I was part of the operation and we really couldn't let me be part of that at that time. So we had a representative already that was part of PBSA. So I didn't get involved with PBSA until about 10 years ago. And when I did, I was lucky enough to know people in the industry already that helped champion me along and suggested different committees for me to be a part of. And I actually looked around and saw the things that I would be interested in as well. So Fred Giles was the person that sponsored me so much for the Accreditation Council. And all the people that were on that council were extremely seasoned people that had been there since the beginning of time, and they were incredible people to be with. I learned a lot from them, and I was really proud of the time that I was there for a short time. They worked tirelessly, and I was grateful to be part of that and putting together some of the processes, procedures, or having some input into those and what the accreditation should be about. But there are people in there that I just have to put my hat off to. I mean, they have worked tirelessly to make that program everything that it is. And it's a great program. It's a program that I really believe, well, there's nothing like it in the industry, number one. Number two, what it does is set you up for success because they align it with the FCRA and everything just to make sure that you're doing everything right. So, I mean, if you get accredited, you're really committing to doing all the right things. They lay it completely out for you. And so, I mean, it just makes it so that you don't fail.
Right.
So I mean, it's an absolutely great program. I definitely am an advocate for it, obviously. Best practices, same thing. I mean, we're out there looking at the things that all other screeners should be looking at. So if you're new and you're not part of PBSA, I would definitely advocate for being part of PBSA because you have people that are in the industry and they're sharing knowledge. You don't find that in a lot of industries. All right. I'm not saying anybody's giving up their secret sauce because they're not. But what they are doing is they are professional and they are sharing things that are like things that have nothing to do with competition. And we're sharing things to make it better. This is something that I've seen and you can talk to people. It's incredible. Government relations, I mean, is great. I mean, they keep a pulse out there at the federal level, state level, local level, as for anything that's going to impact our industry. That's a great group of people. And then the Access Committee, led by Rory, is doing phenomenal things. And those people, too, work tirelessly. I'm proud to have been a part and still a part of those organizations. I mean, what they're doing is keeping a pulse on anything that's touching us. And especially the redaction of identifiers. I mean,
Right.
that is impacting us. It's killing us, really. It's really hurting people from moving along backgrounds. And Rory and many of the other background screeners that really are in the courts and doing things, tireless work of trying to work with regulators and making sure that we continue to get access and trying to explain that we as background screeners basically have the information and are only looking to verify the information in order to report the information. We have a lot, which a lot of people don't realize, but there are a lot of rules to what we do, okay? And we are heavily regulated on there what we can report and what we can't report, all right? And so we need those identifiers. So, I mean, it's been a source of frustration probably for all of us, although I'll probably be the one that says it out loud, is that you have regulated bodies creating rules and telling us that we have to be accurate. I mean, which obviously we don't want to be. But my point is we're mandated, okay, to have processes and procedures in place before we can ever release a record. All right? These are public records. You can go there, but we as a CRA, a Consumer Reporting Agency, has rules and regulations that we're mandated to follow in order to release records. And so what we have to do is we have to find some way to get people, companies out there. I guess I'm saying, here's a plea. If you're out there and you're ordering backgrounds, align yourself with PBSA. I mean, if you're being held up and your records are being held up, well, it's because there's a reason. We're being held up. And the reason we're being held up is because they're redacting these identifiers, and we've got to make sure that this person truly is your person. I also hold privacy credentials. And so I most certainly believe, as a consumer and as a privacy professional, that we need to protect the consumers out there and make sure that we're not saying somebody had some bad record and it really wasn't bad. But we have to have the tools accessible to us.
It's really kind of nutso and makes no sense. Because we're all fighting the same battle. On one hand, we have the obligation for accuracy, reasonable procedures of maximum possible accuracy, and if there's a record, it's a higher degree of accuracy. And then the various courts and government entities prevent us from having the information we need to make it accurate. And at the same time, the job applicants want us to have this information because they want to get the process going. They say, please let them have the information so we can get this thing done. And so we have courts or agencies say, oh, we want to protect your privacy. And so none of it makes any sense. But
It's
you're
just
right,
a
it's
circle
constant
jerk.
education.
I mean, it truly is where it's just a circle of madness. I mean, until people really realize, I will have to just throw this out to DOT. I mean, they actually, Patrice Kelly, who would run like DOT people, for lack of a better way to say it right now, sorry. But anyway, she actually worked as a liaison with us. I mean, somebody had gotten through to her And she actually worked as a liaison in our industry for a couple years to be able to bring back stuff to our industry. And I just thought that was phenomenal. I'm that she got it.
Right.
Because I've been at conferences, and I'm not going to throw it out there right now, but where I've gone up to regulators and I've said, well, here's a problem, here's a conflict that we're having. And I've had them say, well, Nancy, we really don't care about you. I mean, what we're for law enforcement and adoption, those are what our parameters are and what we're really worried about. Your segment of the business, that's not where but I'm like, we are doing backgrounds for regulated industries, for banks, for example, that require your services, and they're just using us as the platform. And I'm telling you that there's a hole here. And so this is real. And while we've got people that are working tirelessly on this, we still need help. We need help out there from companies to be able to say, look, government people, I'm not knocking the government by no means. It's not what my intention here is. But to say, really, we're working in silos out there. And you need to be looking broader as for the impact of the regulation you're putting out and how it's impact literally millions of people that we're doing backgrounds on. And that's huge. And they don't realize it.
Well, I love your passion on the topic, and maybe, who knows, someone will listen in and we'll be able to continue to push that rock up the hill and get some education. So I really appreciate your input on this and the way that you're really passionately trying to get the message out. I also loved what you talked about with background screening. Of course, it is a credentialing and the accreditation. And I've always observed that just going through the accreditation makes you think. Now, it doesn't mean that there's someone there making sure you do it every day. But it's not that type of ongoing supervision. But boy, the process just it improves a company just to some huge number. And so that's just such a tremendous thing. And so many people put that together. So it's really great.
A great job.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that, when we first started PBS, not PBSA, one of the very first things I talked about at the very first meeting was we need to regulate ourselves so others don't do it for us. And I think accreditation really accomplished that. So let's move away from background screening just for a moment or two and tell us what Nancy all does for fun and outside of background screening. When you're not knee deep or whatever it is in compliance and everything that's changing every day, what do you do for fun to get away from all of this?
Well, recently, the last couple of years, I've been traveling. So I got to go to Ireland, which was one of my biggest dreams. And then last year, I went and took an extremely great trip and visited the Alps. So, it was 5 different countries. And it was like really 2 very incredible trips that were weeks long, but I just got really a great view of Europe, if you will. So that was awesome. I like that. I love music. So I still go to concerts. I'm going to have to find younger people to hang with because many of my friends do not like concerts anymore. They don't like the crowds and all of that, and I still love it. I love just arts in general. So, I do love plays and musicals and things like that. And you know what? As you get older, you just appreciate people in general. So, and the time you need to spend with them. So my family, my friends, any time that I get to just spend time, just chilling out, that's everything to me. It truly is.
That's great advice. And for people that are in the middle of their career, sometimes you forget the most important thing, your family, if you have kids, or your kids or friends, and it's really about people at the end of the day. You can have a whole resume full of accomplishments, but at the end of the day, it's really all about people and relationships and that sort of thing. So I think that's wonderful.
That's mainly what I've done.
I have to say, I don't go to concerts either because for 2 reasons, parking and bathrooms. They're both difficult to come by.
I understand. I do, but I still love the music and just, I don't know, feel like I'm 18 again, whatever. I just really, truly enjoy it.
Well, we've been doing lately are tribute bands. So those are easy to get into. And some of those are really fun. And some of them almost sound like the band that they're trying to give a tribute to. So,
yeah.
With the cost of tickets these days and these big arenas, that's what my wife and I have been doing. The illegals and petty theft and some of those type of bands. That's a lot of fun. So tell us, we know you from your consulting and from your work with large firms and your work with the PBSA, but tell us a fun fact that people may not know about you.
All right. Well, this is pretty crazy, but I went to clown college.
What?
It was only over a couple weekends. And I joined a troupe too. I didn't go anywhere with it. I was actually doing it because I love clowns and I was just interested. But I also wanted to do it because I was doing I did back then a lot of charity things. And so, especially for kids, I just thought it'd be fun to be a clown and go to hospitals and things like that. Unfortunately for me, the type of clown that I like and what I liked and what I was going to do it for really wasn't it, because I like sad clown.
What clown?
Sad.
The sad clown, okay.
Like Emmett Kelly and Red Skelton and things like that. But I like Sandy the Clown or Cookie the Clown too. So, I mean, the goose clown, that's your brown-faced clown, that's the one that I would want to be. And I just really didn't have I found work and just life in general got away, and I just couldn't really pursue it. And I was only looking to do it for charity, and it was really very expensive. But, just so you know out there, there's a lot to clowning. And they have their own code of ethics, things that you need to do. And it's fun. It really is a cool thing. If I ever get to do it in my life, I probably will do it. Not for profit, I really don't want to do it, but I would like to just have fun doing it. But those shoes, those clown shoes, cost like $300 back in the day, and I'm talking 20 years ago. I mean, so if you're not going to do it for profit, it could be a very expensive hobby. So that would be a fun fact that probably nobody out there knows.
And the next conference you go to, a person or two might be clowning around and asking you about that. I mean, the jokes write themselves. I mean, I love the idea of a clown code of ethics.
They actually have them. You can't smoke, you can't swear. I mean, there is literally a code of ethics.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, they're a great organization. I mean, they truly are. There's many organizations, but yeah, so that was really cool. And right now I'm prepping to be in the Mud Run Challenge. So that's going to be in August. It's for breast cancer research. It's for charity. Right. But if I don't base plank or something, I mean, I have to get in much better shape between now and August to be able to do 17 obstacles. It's 5K and 17 obstacles. I think it will be a blast.
And for those who don't know, the Mud Run, you get dirty in places you didn't know you had.
Correct.
And you do these insane obstacles, and there's teamwork, and it's all with a team, right? And cargo nets, and over and under, and
that's exactly. I love 17 of those. I think 4 are supposed to be fun challenges, but the rest are a little challenging. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm really calling myself out on this one, but it's really for fun and for charity at the end of the day. So I can't wait, really.
Oh, that's great. And then the final challenge is to sit there while they hose you off. So what are the charities that you're supporting? What's important to you?
Well, this one is for breast cancer research.
Okay, great.
I've done juvenile diabetes. I've done multiple sclerosis, numerous cancer runs or walks. I wasn't running. I was doing walks. I just raised money for tons. I've done a lot of personal ones as well for people that have been sick or helped families out over the years. So those are just different things. It used to be, I haven't done it so much because I was working so many hours and things like that. But back in the day, I'd call up and people say, what do you want? Like, how much money? And I'm like, oh my God, I really didn't want that reputation for every time I call a friend. So I did back off for a while. But getting back, it's what it's all about, really. I mean, it really does more for you than what the effort that you put out. It truly does. So, I don't know. It's something that I've always enjoyed. And I'm blessed enough to be able to be healthy enough to do it. So those are the things that I've done.
I mean, that's just such wonderful advice for people to, and that leads into our last section, which is advice for newcomers. But this idea, I love the way you said that giving back ends up doing more for you than you think.
Advice for newcomers, I would definitely say Well, me, because I'm a compliant, I'm an advocate for all of our legal teams that are out there. And I would say get a strong legal team behind you. Let them set your base up, tell you what your reporting guidelines are, tell you and just sit there and give you your responsibilities, clearly let you know what is yours as a company responsibility and what is the consumer reporting agency's responsibility. And make sure that you understand that. And then people like myself or your internal people can come in and write the policies and procedures to help you get that point across to everybody. But starting with a legal team or even a legal person is huge. And we've got so many of them at PBSA, AGG, Cypress and Shaw, Tadigi, I mean, you name them. And I don't mean to leave anybody out, but all you have to do is go PBSA and you'll be able to see all the different people that take part in our association meetings. And they're phenomenal, all of them. I cannot say enough for the work that they do on our committees and everything that they do. So that would be my number one advice. Second, I mean, and probably in conjunction with that, is join PBSA. To have that as a resource and all the people that are out there, they truly do share and give a lot of information, especially our committees, and get involved in the committees. Don't just join and just show up at the annual conferences and things like that. Really get involved because that's where you're going to gain all your knowledge of the industry. I learned a lot from a lot of really great people out there. So I think that's critical.
That's where you also form your connections to the committee meetings and, yeah.
Absolutely. And you really can't do that without an organization like that. You really can't because you're sort of siloed in your own company.
Right.
But until you get out there and see that other people may be having this issue or that issue, you really don't know. You get an opportunity to talk to our furnishers. You get an opportunity to talk to the lawyers for free there. So, I mean, that's really important. And then, by all means, I'm a huge advocate for PBSA accreditation, of course. I just think that it really helps you set up a great base. It tells people that you're committed. It tells the people out there, like all the companies that are looking to hire someone, that you are committed to doing the right thing and that you're willing to put the money out there, actually, to be able to stay accredited and you're committed. I think that's important. So that would be my advice for newcomers to the business.
And let me ask you, take it from a different angle, what would be your advice to people that are currently, I guess I would call them production people that are doing the bread and butter production work, the verification calls, the crim record work, all the people that were the types of people you supervise. What would your advice be for someone who's been in the industry 2, 3, 4 years?
Their bosses, the people, the decision makers, many times they will set people like, here's your compliance person for the company, and that's the person that gets to go to these type of association meetings and things. And while that's perfect, and that's what should happen, I will tell you, from coming from operations and then into compliance roles, when I got to PBSA, that was a whole new world that opened up for me. Surely, our compliance person did a great job bringing everything back to us, setting up policies and procedures that operations would follow. But there were certain things that me as an operations person, I was like, I'm in it every day, right? And so I could see certain things from what the legal people were saying. Like, so if they were up there and you had somebody giving a talk and saying, you know what, you're going to have to, the regulators are coming out with this new regulation, or this state is putting out this, and you're going to have to set up your system like this. Depending on how your business is set up, your compliance person may not have the knowledge that an operations person knows, and may not see that type of impact that an operations person is going to look at and say, whoa, we're not going to be able to do that, or how are we going to be able to do that, or we're going to have to get some other enhancements to our IT,
right,
or something to make this happen. And so I'm just saying that I think it gives the operations people, well, it helps them grow. It's just not always easy to get an operations person out of the operation, okay? Because half the time they're on the phone still running the operation. But I do think it's critical, and I think it really does give the company that's setting them the opportunity to have more than one set of eyes and experience looking at what these regulators are telling you and what's being presented so that you could bring the best home to your company.
Nancy, this has been a great time with you. Normally, our shows are shorter. I did not even realize until I looked up and saw, boy, time goes quick when you're having fun. I mean, it's just so much great information. I really appreciate that. And there's just so many great things to unpack here when people listen to this about so many different things. Your comments about your leading teams and the accomplishments and learning and listening and just so many things that I personally got listening to and out of this session. So it's been really fantastic. I really appreciate it. Before we wrap up here, the tradition on this podcast is always to give the guest the last word. And so anything else you want to add? The floor is yours.
The only thing that I would add is that two people that are starting out in the industry, enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. Build the relationships. It's a great field that impacts millions of people, and you're playing a really big part in it. So take it serious, but have fun. Enjoy it, and bring the best that you have to the table every day, and it'll pay you in space. So that would be my last.
And Nancy Alt, I thank you that we have such great observations, particularly from your perspective of being both an expert in ops and an expert in compliance and everything you've done at PBSA. I think all of this industry, thank you for your service for that as well. And it was a great program. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Les. I really appreciate your time.
And ladies and gentlemen, we had the pleasure of having a conversation with Nancy Alt of Tweak the Core LLC, who shared with us a lot of great information here and a lot of things to think about. And this wraps up this episode of Behind the Screens. If you like this podcast and like listening to the people that we interview and talk to, it would be extremely helpful if you were to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's our commercial. And when these programs come out on LinkedIn, if you were so moved to maybe hit a like or make a comment, that enhances the visibility of the program so these programs are seen a little bit wider. And with that, we invite you to attend our next program. In the meantime, Nancy Alt, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Les.
Thank you. All right, that was yet another wonderful conversation with a background screening pro. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an update. And hey, if you got a moment, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It really helps get the word out. For more info or to catch up on past episodes, or to make suggestions or to suggest possible future guests, head over to our website. Once again, this is your host, Les Rosen, and it's been a pleasure to bring you another episode. See you on the next episode. Thanks.